Greetings from Bangkok, Thailand, and welcome to 30 Minutes Promoting Unity and Diversity with Wanayran Angerer in Moving Cultures. Our guest, 149, is a woman who has demonstrated the power of the tribe, the power of African women and culture, and is here today with us to tell us about her journey, what 2022 is going to be bringing to us from her side, and how these past years has helped to transform her mindset and the way she is dealing with creativity. So let's welcome Kiarie Afrika from Kenya. Hello, Kiarie.
Hello.
So happy to see you. Happy to see you, Kiarie.
Me too. In my tribe, we say Dayo. So Dayo means peace. So when we are greeting each other, we say Dayo, and then the other person will respond Dayo, like peace, peace.
Ah, so that's okay. So I say Dayo.
Yes, and I say Dayo.
In Thailand, yeah, we say Sawadika. And we put the hands together. Yeah, there is also greeting our respective souls. And in Honduras, in Latin America, we say hola.
Hola.
Kiarie,
of course, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about this exciting journey that you have walked through life. And the first question is to know who Kiarie Afrika is.
My name is Ndutawa Kiarie. So Kiarie is my surname and my family name. I come from the clan of Anjiro, and I come from the Gikuyu tribe, which is the largest tribe in Kenya, East Africa. And that's where I'm based. And I'm a fashion creator, I'm a cultural enthusiast, and I'm women empowerment enthusiast. I love to speak about women issues and also women empowerment. So that's who Kiarie Afrika is.
We were talking behind the scenes about the influences of your ancestors, of your parents, your grandparents, and your community. What can you tell us about that specific experience?
No, I did, it's more of a research, and I have to say that I had a normal childhood when I was growing up, and I have to give it up to my mother, because my mother allowed me to be a free-spirited child. She would allow me to wear anything, and that's how I grew up, loving to just be me in my clothes and in who I am. And I have to talk about my ancestors, because after digging deep in who I am as Kiarie Afrika and where I come from, I realized that my ancestors were very colorful people. And I came to learn that they love to wear their own cultural clothes. And I decided to be on a mission to represent my ancestors and my culture. So it's been a journey.
And when we talk about your ancestors, we're not only talking about Kenyan ancestors, we're talking about the global African village. Let us know, how do the Africa as a continent has built you up as the person you are today?
Africa is big, Africa is diverse, Africa is huge, it's large. And I always say that I think in future, when you're asked where you come from, you just say you come from Africa. Yeah, I'm from Africa. You don't have to be, of course, people will want geographically, they want to know specifically where in Africa. But I think if I say I'm from Africa, then it's like it's a continental representation. So my inspiration comes from Africa at large. For example, I will be inspired by the Decembee people, from the Fulani people, the Himba women in Namibia, the Igbo people. So to me, to be a lover of culture, you not only have to love your culture, but the whole of African cultures. So it's been a journey to learn about cultures and to be influenced by them. So I am grateful to my ancestors, my Gikuyu ancestors, my tribe, and also to all the African ancestors who were there before us.
As a fashion stylist and also a fashion creative, you also understand the influence of West, East, and the Orient, because we're talking about Indians, Arabs, the Europeans, who also have printed their culture into Africa. How do you take that collaboration?
In this world, we have to learn about diversity, and also we have to learn about incorporation. It's the only way we can live in unity. So for me, we are not in the days where our ancestors used to wear skin and all this. We are in a world where we need to incorporate. So we cannot dispute the fact that we have been colonized by the British, we have been colonized by, okay, in general, let me say we've been colonized by the European countries and all those other countries. So the Western influence is there and it's deeply rooted. So my mission is to how we can incorporate the Western cultures with our own African cultures. So you can be dressed in a modern way, but still incorporate your culture. But I have to say this, that when you're doing that, your culture has to be first. You have to use your culture first and then incorporate the Western culture. Because I think it's the other way around. Africans have lost their culture and adopted more of the Western culture. And that's why most people in Africa don't even know anything to do with their culture. They have to wait for someone else to tell them about their culture. And it's a very sad state of affairs that you're an African and you don't know who you are, because culture is a way of people's life. Culture gives you identity. So for example, when I go somewhere, just the way I'm dressed, I don't even have to introduce myself. Just the way I am, I have identified myself. Someone will just look at me and say, this is an African queen, this is an African woman. So culture is also, you know, an identification. It helps the world identify.
Kiarie, I think you have made the point. It's not what you say, is what you represent. And the understanding of the power of your roots and your ancestors, and also understanding what is coming in the future that is to be modern. You know, like we were talking also before, your necklace is obviously very much in synchrony with the Indian tradition of working metals. But you also have a line here of shells, you know, they are so African, you know. And the turban is an accessory that it doesn't only represent Africa, it's a very important piece in all tribal communities around the world. And why? Because a lot of the elements you are wearing in your body are not only aesthetics, they also representing the way energy flows in our system. You know, you protect your head because the head is sacred, and everything that has to do with the divine is connected to your crown. So this is why sometimes you wear a turban and you wear a headscarf, and you see it in a lot of spiritual context. And then you wear the necklace. There is a way to get all your energy from the communication aspects of your life also enhanced, you see? And then we use bracelets also to stimulate energy and vibration to what is giving and receiving and making and doing, you know? And it's amazing how a lot of, in the earrings also, you know, how all these are energetic points of your body that actually you are giving on not only beauty, but also sending a message of respect. Let's talk about yourself and the understanding of the mystical and spiritual power of jewelry and accessories.
You know, it's and I think African women, and that's why I said I'm on a journey and I'm on a mission to help our women take back their power, because our African women lost their power. That is something we cannot dispute. African women lost their power, and the moment African women lost their power, they lost so much because of losing their power. And there's something about African spirituality which is very deep, because the moment you learn about how your ancestors were, like how our ancestors used to do things, like you talked about colors and vibrations and what people will see you depending on a different color, the color you're wearing. For example, when you're in red, you represent movement, you represent all this. So when you're wearing green, it's earth, it's mother, you're representing the earth. So for me, and I have to say this in my own personal experience, that my dressing code has earned me respect. And I've been telling people that the way you dress, for example, I have to give it to the Indian women and the, for example, Islam women. I have very much respect for the way they dress, because it's a way that we have been influenced and have been brainwashed that to be beautiful or to be a queen, that you have to show so much of yourself, which is not the truth. So for me, I always tell people that anytime you choose something to wear, you have to remember who you are. So anytime you're choosing something to wear, you have to remember that I'm an African woman, I'm an African queen, and this is what I represent. These are my values, and these are my ancestors' way, and this is what I want the world to get from me. So anytime you're out there as a woman, and this is something that these conversations have to go on, because the African women need to have these conversations, because to be an African woman meant power. Because remember in our history that African women were very powerful women until that changed. And that changed because also of the Western influence. So myself, I'm on a mission that we need to go back and find where did we lose our power? Where did we lose our worth? Can we go back? Can we go back to wearing clothes like queens? Can we go back to choosing colors? Can we go back to being led by colors and the vibration they represent? So one, you have to say that I'm on a mission, and every other day I find myself influencing women to want to be, want to be queens, want to dress like queen and know their worth and even go back to the ancestors' ways.
You also are very clear in understanding how nature is actually the source. You work with different materials that all come from the earth. And you always take in consideration the colors of the nature, the trees, the wood, the different fibers, and I think this is exactly the source, the beginning of understanding women power, because craft is normally done by women. And craft is the origin of everything that has to do with utility, being functional, being beautiful, being aesthetic, and you have understood how you can bring this craft to another level. Let's bring on the camera some of the photos that we have prepared from you. Okay, let's get these ones. And okay, here we go. Okay, and the first one is the portada of our interview. And the same way, I'm wearing this Almora necklace from Turkana, and you also creating some Maasai necklaces with other accessories and elements, right? Let's talk about this specific piece here. Okay, and let's go now. And in this photo is another fleur. Talk to us about this one, Kiarie.
Which photo? I don't have it on my.
You cannot see it on the. We have a photo where you are wearing a hat and a flower printed dress. Very fresh.
Oh, okay. Yes, I see it. Of course, you mentioned something about, because again, this is African spirituality. And I think you've noticed in most of my photos, I cover my forehead a lot. So I wear hats a lot. And if it's not hats, I wear turbans a lot. Like most of the time I'm always covering my forehead. Because I understood, and this is deep in spirituality, I understood the power of hiding your forehead and people's energies, the people you meet and all that. And that's why I said I have very much respect for Indian and Islam women. And even in African spirituality, the way women used to dress, they used to cover a lot of their hair and their foreheads. So again, the hat was inspired by that. But again, we live in Africa and sometimes it's sunny. So you need to also take care of your skin by covering yourself from the sun. And the prints, the long printed dress, the prints, of course, are very common in West Africa. And I have to say, I really admire West African women because of the way they dress. So again, that was an inspiration from West of Africa. So like I said, I'm inspired by the whole of Africa. It could be West, Central, East, West, South. It could be anywhere from Africa. And not just Africa, even in India, because I said I love Indian colors and I love the way they dress. And also the length. The length, Wani, I have to say, most of my clothes, you've seen them, I'm always almost covering myself because there's this mentality in our African women that they think that if you show off too much of your skin, that means you're more beautiful. And I have to say that you can cover yourself. That's why the dress has that length, and still feel beautiful in your own self and still feel like a queen. You don't have to walk almost naked. Because again, what message are you sending to people? How do you want people to view you?
In this other photo here, you are with your daughter and you are wearing, again, a very colorful tops with open shoulders and beads jewelry. You are making sure that your daughter also understands the power of colors and culture at the moment she dresses. Let's talk about this mother and daughter relation.
Yes. This is about nurturing life. African women, and I think women, and I will say women in general in the world, we are nurturers of life. We are bringing up kings and queens. We are raising princesses and princes. So again, a child grows, a child lives a child grows up to be what they've been living. So for me, like I said, I'm on a mission also to be an example to my daughter. I want my daughter to grow up being very, very comfortable in her roots. And I want her to grow up knowing that she's an African girl and she is allowed and she is capable of just being anything she wants in her African element. So I want to be the perfect example for her. And that's why in most of the photos, I always strive for us to dress the same with my daughter, because I want her to look at me and say, because mama used to dress like this, because my mama used to do this, then I think I'm enough. Then I think I'm enough to be an African girl. So it's more like of setting an example even to her and also to all the generations that will come even after I'm gone. So I'm setting a legacy.
Exactly.
It's more of a legacy. Yes.
In this following photo, can you see it? You are wearing.
If you just tell me.
Yeah. Yeah. This is you are having again a dress that is yellow with blue prints and like a stars necklace in a Nigerian hat, male hat.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is a jumpsuit. I call it's a jumpsuit. It's more like a trouser. But when you're wearing it, people think it's a dress. And again, you said the Nigerian. It's a Nigerian kufi hat. Again, inspired by the ancestors in Nigeria and the men in Nigeria. So, like I said, my inspirations come from anywhere in any part of Africa. I'll be inspired today by Nigeria and create something from Nigeria. I'll be inspired by South Africa and create something from South that looks like, yeah. So the jumpsuit also is a modern clothes. You can see that the jumpsuit is more of a modern design, but it's more of a design that shows that you can also incorporate the Western world and culture and still create something beautiful. Yeah.
Now we are here with one of the traditional African baskets, and you are wearing a white gown. Again, the Nigerian hat and brass jewelry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I remember that dress.
And then the following photo, there is you are having some white feathers with the South African prints in the necklace.
In the beads,
and
yeah?
this, yeah, and it's you with your daughter, and you are wearing this blonde, black, transparent turban,
Yeah.
Yeah, and what is it's a very refreshing image. What's the story of these designs and also the capture?
Well, like the multicolored necklace. I call it multicolored necklace with the white feathers. It has all the colors. Because like I said, Wani, and I know you're very deep in this, colors is all about energy. It's all about the energies and vibrations. So I could decide to create something multicolored because sometimes you're not sure of your feelings. You're not sure of the energy you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you find yourself in a certain color and your whole vibration changes.
Exactly.
Yes, so for me, I am always drawn by vibration and what I want the world to see, and I want the world to get from me, the feeling. What will they get from me? And also for my daughter, the photo that we've covered ourselves with the net-like turbans, it's because also I wanted to create a look of where we felt like queens. It's like a queen and a princess. Because again, Africans forgot that they were royalty. Africans forgot that they were royalty, and royalty is dressed in a particular way. And I'm not saying that we are going to walk around every day wearing robes and, looking like we are acting the Vikings. No. But we will, of course, because you've been to Nairobi and sometimes it's not practical to go to some areas
exactly.
Just like that. Yes, you cannot go to Kibera just like you're on a, like you're casting for Vikings.
Exactly.
Or Game of Thrones. So you also have to be practical of where you're living and where you are.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. But it doesn't mean that you can't. It doesn't mean that you can't look like a queen if you want to. You can still look like a queen. You can still dress like a queen in a practical way. And I want my daughter to grow up seeing this in me. Like when she looks at me and says, "Oh, so it is possible because my mama has done it."
Yes, and I'm showing the other necklaces that you have in different colors. Here you are wearing a kafta that is orange with red flowers, and a beads necklace and a straw hat. And this is again, this is very common in the coast of Kenya. It's like a very normal to see women dressing like this, right?
Yes, it's very because of the sun, again, because of the geographical, of the weather there.
Okay, here you are again with a more summerish dress. It's like a green, and it's very spring. I have to know, autumn, I will say. Orange and yellow flowers and headgear with flowers on you. Talk to me about this specific photo because I feel something special in it.
The one I'm wearing a crown on top?
Exactly, and you are in the middle of the forest.
Yes. with the crown, with the flowers. If you look closely, when you look at the crown, it has almost every other color. The flowers are almost every other color. And like I said, again, it's vibration. And in the field, I was trying to signify that you can be in an open, you can be in your own space and still feel beautiful and look beautiful in your own space. Like it doesn't have to be anyone around you, because again, this is something that Africans have been doing, and I think you've seen it, Wani. Africans and most people, they even dress up for people. They don't dress for themselves. They dress up to please other people. So you find them very stressed, and you find them living life that is not theirs, because for them their mission is to please other people. But for me, I always tell the women I talk to on a daily basis or people I meet that you can still be beautiful in your own space. You can just be alone and still look very beautiful and still look like a queen. So that's why the area is so open with no one around. It's just a forest. And also because I was in nature. I was in a forest. There was grass, open fields, and the trees. So I had to be in colors that made me talk to nature, made me feel at peace with the nature around me. So, like you said, nature is very important to humankind. It's only that we have forgotten. So for me, I'm guided by that. Anytime I have to be on a location where I know I will interact a lot with nature, then I have to be with colors that will make me talk and be at peace with nature, you know? Be one with the nature.
The next photo, you're wearing again a big straw hat with a scarf that is very common to use it for the belly dancing. And you have a black robe and gloves with naked fingers and colorful trousers. It's also a very powerful image. So talk to me about this specific concept.
Of course, the scarf, like you mentioned, the belly dancers. I think I got it from an Indian friend. They gifted me that. They gifted me that, and this look was also inspired by all these movies that we've been seeing, like Game of Thrones, the Vikings, and I have to say that most of these movies that tell us about kingdoms, they have been inspired by Africa.
Yes.
They have been inspired by Africa. Most of these movies we see, even the robes we see in movies and all these costumes, most of them have been inspired by African tribes. So this particular dress and even the shoes, the boots, all these long boots, they were inspired by that. They were inspired by royalty. Yeah, and of course the straw hat, the straw hat is more of a representation of my geography, like where am I? I'm in Africa. In Africa, it's a lot of sun most of the time. So again, I have to cover myself. So again, the significance of the hat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here you are with an afro, a big pendant made out of beads, wood, bracelet, and big earrings, one with a feather and the other one free of feathers. So how do you feel? This is a very, I will say, 60s style.
Yes.
It's a very 60s style. Do you also take in consideration the time, or is only a mood that you enter to at the moment that you, because this is very much related to styling, right?
Yes. Like you said it perfectly. Moods. Most of the time when I have to dress in something, it has to go with my mood. It has to go with with my activities for the day. And this particular style was inspired by my mother, because when I look at her photos back in her 70s, like in 70s, how they used to dress with the afro and the platforms. So that is where I drew the inspiration of the afro. So in a way, I'm trying to create a mini version of my mother in me. Yeah, a mini version of her. Back in the 70s, like how they used to dress with the afro and everything. So that is what inspired me to have the afro, and also the different earring. This is about style. I always tell people that you can decide to be two different characters in one person. So that's why in most of my photos you've seen, I don't always wear matching earrings. Because on one part of me, I could be representing one thing, and one part of me could be representing something else. So I'm always very ready to try out. When you're in style and when you're creative, you also have to be very open-minded. You have to be very free-spirited, and you also have to be very bold to try out new, something that people have not seen before.
Exactly. And this photo, they are practically, I think, early photos of you styling. You are wearing a necklace made of cloth with others with stones, or I think they're beads, big beads. And
Yes.
yeah, so tell me, what is the inspiration of this photograph?
The one I'm wearing, the neck piece with the clothes, the small pieces of clothes. Those
Yes.
small pieces of clothes, and this is also something that I would want people to, to be inspired, that you can create something very beautiful from trash, from anything, because these small pieces are the pieces you get after cutting clothes. When you're about to make clothes, of course, you all have that trash. We will call it trash.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought, why don't I create a piece from what we could call trash?
Mm-hmm.
There's something to be thrown away. So again, when you're in this world, you can create something beautiful from nothing, something that could be called garbage or trash can create something beautiful. So that is how I created that neck piece, and it was a masterpiece. I created several of them, and yeah.
They're very beautiful. And we're talking about upcycling and recycling. Okay,
Yes.
very African, tribal, colorful, very stylish. These styles are also very common in the indigenous groups of Latin America and also South Africa and Asia, so this is when we see the global context of craft.
Yes.
Okay, let's see the next one. This is again beads. Very stylish, and very simple, Kiarie. Simple, but very elegant and very present, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our last image, and we practically are reaching the 30 minutes of our conversation, a bit longer because we have done a little bit of more talking behind the scenes. And Kiarie, what would you say to the new generations in society in relation to diversity, inclusion, participation in these modern times? How can they understand this concept?
Well, I have to wind up and say that I, as Kiarie Afrika, I'm on a mission to live my divine purpose. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to inspire the generations that are coming. So for the young generation that is there, when it comes to inclusion, we have to realize and accept that we're in a modern world. So it is up to us to incorporate the modern world and our culture. But I have to insist and say that culture has to be first, because culture gives you an identity. The only way the world is going to identify with you is through who you are. And it is being your authentic self. Your authentic self will always be it for people. And authenticity to me is key. Authenticity to me is key. And every other thing you do, you remember that you have a lineage, you have roots, you have a lineage where you come from, you have heritage, and heritage is very important. And our young people, sadly, they are growing up not knowing who they are. So for me, it's to encourage our young people and our coming generations that it is up to you to know who you are as an African, either as an African boy or an African girl. It is up to you to know who you are. It is up to you to ask questions, know your lineage, know your roots, embrace your authentic self, and also represent yourself to the world as an African and as an authentic African. So, and in that way, we can be able to include, everybody. We can be able to include, we cannot be able to live in diversity as the world. We can be able to live in unity. So for me, it is more about how can we unify as the, as the universe, and how can we incorporate each other as the universe and, live in unity. So diversity is beautiful, but until we know how to incorporate it, it's the only way we are going to know the beauty about it and reap the fruits of diversity.
Where can people follow you? Can you tell us about your pages and social media, and also what services are you offering, or what products are you also having available for people around the world, if it's only in Africa or in Kenya? Can you tell us a little bit about that before we close our conversation?
Okay. Thank you so much, Wani. People can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, and I'm on Twitter. My handle name is Kiarie Afrika. Just the way Wani has written it, just the way it sounds, Kiarie Afrika with a K. And I am, if you're interested in something that is very different when it comes to African beads and African jewelries and African ornaments and adornments, then I'm the person to look for. If you're interested in African clothing, anything, and in style, I also do styling. So you can find me there. It can be anything. We can even create something with you, just bringing minds together and create something. And in future, look forward to more of Kiarie Afrika giving talks about women empowerment, about how to take our power back as women, how to take our worth back, how to realize your worth as an African woman. So that is what Kiarie in Africa has in store for you. And I'll be expecting to hear from you, all of you who are watching.
Thank you, Kiarie. So I'm sure that definitely you're also going to be offering some workshops in the future, and I'm going to keep posting in Moving Culture social media, anything that you have to offer. And I only have to say thank you very much for promoting unity and diversity through your activities, your philosophy, your way of thinking, and also your love for humanity, Kiarie. I'm so happy to be in this conversation with you after so many years. And I embrace you from Bangkok, Thailand, and hope very soon to be able to give you a big hug physically in Kenya or in another part of the world. Blessings, happy end of the year celebrations, and a wonderful 2022.
Thank you so much. Dayo. In my tribe, we say Dayo, Dayo.
Dayo, Dayo.
Yes, dayo,
Asante
dayo.
sana.
Asante sana. Thank you so much, Wani.
Bye-bye, Kiarie.
Bye-bye, everybody. Sending all my love. Sending all my love to all of you.